Welcome back, you guys. Pretty interesting build today. We actually are going to take you through the process of our manufacturing steps for the Hemorrhage Slide. So if you're unsure what I'm talking about, if you happen to go to our webpage, there is a hardware tab, and we do sell slides on there. Occasionally, they're one-off pieces that we've created for somebody, or maybe it was a new design we created for ourselves in preparation to a large project that we weren't sure how it was going to turn out on their project, so we have something left over. So sometimes we sell those. Now, we've happened to had a large number of people request something pretty aggressive, and we had decided to come up with the Hemorrhage Slide, tying in a lot of our services into one slide. We happen to offer it right now for the Gen 3 and the Gen 5. Now, I say that because you have to purchase a slide, so this isn't like you can provide us your G45 or your 19X slide and we offer it on your slide. This happens to be where you actually have to purchase the slide from us, and we would mail you an item, and that is why it's on the hardware tab. So we have our services that are offered broken down by services, so you can order a service and ship in, or we have it set up with the hardware tab where you can purchase an item and receive. So that's kind of where that's at. Now, let's kind of just quickly take you guys through that. We start with a high quality blank version of the Gen 3 or the Gen 5 slides. We end up doing a chamfered edge all the way around them because they happen to be very blocky when they come in, which is exactly what we want. We do want something that looks a little bit different than the factory slide, and it does allow us to do our chamfered edges to the depth that we're accustomed to. So instead of getting something in that's already chamfered and working with it, we're actually able to choose that depth and how far we reduce those corners on the edges. Let's talk a little bit about the rest of the cut work, and then of course we're going to jump into it. Then we'll come back and we'll review exactly how it came out. Optic cut in the top rear section, that's going to be cut for a Trijicon hollow sun, so the most common, so we're going to see that here. We're going to leave the dovetail where it is located. On the sides, pretty interesting, we don't have any features here, right, because we're starting with a blank. So on our pattern, we're going to end up doing a quick side shave to kind of just give it a little bit of contour. We want to make sure that we're not using just a block of a slide. We see a lot of companies out there just throwing serrations on a block, and it still looks like, well, a block. So we want to make sure that we are adding a little bit of detail to the side, even in the non-cut areas, just to give it a little bit more contrast. So we're going to be doing some rear serrations. We've got a little bit of a step down window here, and then of course we have a step down in the front zone, and we'll get to why we're doing that here in a moment. So we've got a step down in the front zone. We've got a new Cobra nose, as you guys have seen. So the new design Cobra nose is there. On this side, it's a little bit different. We do let me step back for a second. On this side, we shave the entire side and we do the side windows, and then we've got a couple of different pieces that are in that shave. On this side, we don't really want to shave the entire side because we have a cutout here to work around, and we do want the traced outline. So we do want to have some sort of an outline around this, gives it a little bit more detail. So what we actually end up doing here is we shave the side and we work around the ejection side to give it a little bit more pop. Rear serrations, step down in the front, and then Cobra nose. So it's a little bit different between side to side. They both happen to have a shave down. This side has a little bit of a raised section to work around the ejection, so it ends up popping a little bit more, so it's not just a complete shave. Overall, I think it's a real nice choice. And then what we do is we move on to the top. Now, the top is a really interesting lineup for work, and that is reverse raptor cut. So they come in this way, okay? We have 4 of those that we cut pretty deep, and they come down the sides pretty far. They don't hit the Cobra nose. It does work in this zone that we shave in the front, so it's a real nice offset between, it's kind of like a recess on the side, and then a cut down the side, and a cut in from the top. Now, the extra detail that we have here on the top is we do a workaround where the raptor cuts come in. So where the raptor cuts come in, we actually have an offset on the top, and we sink down the rest. So you're going to find that this zone, a stripe up the center, and around the front sight is actually recessed down, and then we leave the material raised on the top, and then we cut the raptor cuts in that material. So it's really interesting the way that the top plays out. Overall, I really like it. Guys, I think what we're going to do now is let's jump over to the Tormach. We're running this on the 1100, so all the work will be performed on there. And one of the things I want to show you as it's done, I'm not going to deburr or anything, I'm just going to pull it right off the machine. I want to show you guys the quality of the cut before we actually get down into what would be like a deburr process, because sometimes you get parts off and they've got to be hand sanded, and a little bit of stuff needs to be deburred, and then you got to come back and look at things. These happen to be really, really nice when they come right off the machine. Usually so nice, in fact, that we can sandblast right off the machine and actually do no hand touch on it at all. And it's all deburred and everything is really, really nice. So hopefully I'll be able to show you guys that entire process. So let's jump over to the 1100 and let's cut this. And let's just see exactly how it comes out, and then let's talk about it a little bit more as we have that final product. Alright guys, let's take a look and see exactly what it looks like coming off the machine. One of the things I just kind of want to show you guys is quality off of the cutter, okay? So obviously, hand lapping, sandblasting, deburring, none of this has actually been done on this particular slide. We've got a couple different slides here. We want to show you what each one of those processes are before it actually goes through the process of leaving. So, we want to look at that quality overall. I'm really pleased with the way that it comes off of the machine itself. A lot of detail work in this particular design. Obviously, we're starting with the high quality stainless steel slide, but the main thing here is, what does it look like when it comes off the machine? How much work is there actually involved? You can see all these little tails right here on these. Basically, most of this stuff will come right off with the sandblaster. There's not a whole lot there. We do go back and we make sure that this edge down through here on both sides doesn't act as an actual serrated edge. So we've got to make sure that we knock down this edge, the top and the sides, so that way it doesn't catch on things in and out of holsters on your hands when you're cycling, things like that. We just want to make sure that it is safe overall to use as well as pleasing to look at the same time. So it's got to have a little bit of functionality and finesse all at the same time. Guys, we're going to show you a sandblasted one. So we would end up taking this, it would go through the process of being, you know, lapped, those edges taken off. It would then go through the sandblaster. We would then review it one more time before it actually makes its way over to the cleaning process and the coloring. And this is a Gen 3 19. So once again, as we stated at the beginning of the video, when you actually go to the webpage to check out, you'll see Gen 5, which is the 19X, which is the regular 19, and it's also the G45. And then we also have the G19 Gen 3. So this one happens to be a Gen 3 model that we have in stock. And this has been just a little bit more cleaned up overall. Same pattern, same design, everything is the exact same. I've gone through and done all that deburr work. Really nice overall. Just kind of want to give you guys a sample of that. Really pleased with the way that they look once they're prepped and ready for coating. And then of course we actually have a coated slide in hand as well. So this would be a Gen 5, and this one actually would be ready to ship to one of our customers. Now I want to talk about a couple of things as we're kind of just reviewing this slide. As we sell the product, there's still some minor changes that you guys can actually make to this before it ships out. And what I mean by that is, you want to do a dovetail in front, maybe you want to remove the dovetail altogether. These are a couple of small things that you could actually request. Hey, I'm interested in buying one of your slides. Hey, I've got a couple small requests. I want to have my name engraved on the side. I want to do a battle worn. I want to do a black nitride. I want to get that dovetail move. So these are all things that can be addressed before we actually process an order. Now, of course, if you happen to like the slide the way it is, it fits your needs the exact way that it is, you're able to purchase and check your box for your color on the way out during checkout. So in other words, I want a green one, I want a gray one, I want a blue one. What would end up happening is you would select that color. We would end up taking one of these that we have in stock, ends up going back through the cleaning process, make sure everything is good to go, and then we're going to choose that color on our color palette that we have here, and that's what's going to get sprayed on the way out. So basically, you're going to choose that color on the way out. You're not required to go with black. If you do decide you want to do a battle worn, you can expect it to be a couple of days. Definitely if you decide you want to move a dovetail, or you want to remove a dovetail, or you want to add something like that, you're definitely going to be looking at some additional time. This is the standard configuration, which is optic cut for the Trijicon Hollow Sun, which would be the 507 407C, cut in front of what would be a factory dovetail. So if you're to purchase, this is exactly how you would receive it in this configuration. Don't let that discourage you, once again, from making some minor changes. If there's something that you'd like to see, something to take into consideration though overall is that we're really not going to change the layout of the design. Okay, so if you say, I want to have a fifth cut, I want to have a different nose, I want to have a different restoration, that's really not offered on this particular slide because this is a sold piece of hardware. Okay, so we've kind of got our model here. Of course, you guys are able to adjust it ever so slightly, mostly to accommodate what would be your optic setup. Or maybe you don't want an optic cut at all. I want to get it back, I don't want an optic cut. So those are some options, but keep in mind that as far as the cut work goes, the actual step downs on the top, the way that the serrations in the front work, that's kind of detailed information that we're not going to change on the pattern. Okay, so we're not going to reinvent the wheel. Now at some point in time, you guys will probably see another one of these pop up, maybe something for a 48, something for a 17, that 22. So there are some options that you may see some different configuration changes if we do decide to do something like maybe say a 43. But this is typically going to be your 19 style slide. And of course, this slide also works on your 23 frames. So very, very nice overall. Guys, I would encourage you to follow along on our Instagram. If you have not been subscribing, do so on our YouTube. Reviews are the place to find that. You're going to get that over onto our Facebook account. That's where you're going to go through and you're going to see the reviews. You're going to be able to leave a review and things like that. So there's a lot of different content in different locations. I would definitely recommend that you spend a little bit of time on our Instagram if you're unsure of what the colors are. You say, I see a color list, but I really don't know what they look like. We would recommend that you go over to our Instagram or our webpage, find a picture of the color you like, send it back to us. Hey, I'm thinking about checking out. I don't know what this color is. I like this color. We'll say it's midnight bronze, it's burnt bronze, it's tactical gray, whatever it is. So we're going to kind of give you that color back. On a lot of the Instagram posts, also on our Facebook posts, we also call out the color. So this happens to be one of our blacks that we have. Now, once again, we do offer other services, battle worn, engravings, black nitride, and those are all located, if you're on our webpage, those are located on the service tab all the way at the bottom of additional services. So that's where you're going to end up finding those, is down there at the bottom. You're able to add those to the cart. Not a big deal there. If you just say, hey Mark, I can't install my iron sights. I don't have the tool, I don't have the vise, I don't have any of the stuff, but I do want to buy a slide. What we would recommend that you do is reach out to us, because what we don't want to do is have you purchase and then we ship. Reach out to us and say, hey, look, I'm going to buy one of your slides. I want to send you some iron sights. I want to send you the optic, and I want you just to install it for me and then send it back. We don't charge anything for that, guys. Okay, there's zero charge for you to provide an iron sight and for us to put the iron sight in your slide. Okay, we don't charge it now on the service work. So if you say, hey, I've got an M&P, I've got an FN, I want to put some suppressor sights on it, I know we're doing an optic, we don't charge for it now. We would recommend that you actually have us do it. Make sure that it's done correctly. If in the event you took it to a local gun shop, they damaged the slide, obviously we're not going to be responsible for the coating on a chip slide that one of the other gunsmiths did. Have us do it. It's absolutely nothing out of pocket for you, and it's going to save you time, because when you get it back in hand, it's already ready to go. You don't have to flag down your local gun shop that, hey, I'm coming by to get my sights put in. It's already done. Okay, so we would recommend, if you do have some sort of a hurdle, there's some kind of an issue along the way with the installing of a part, or I don't know how to do it, or whatever, definitely ask those questions, because a lot of those hurdles that you have, it's already a free service that we're already offering you. You just didn't know it. So we, once again, as you guys have been following us for quite some time on our YouTube, you're going to find that, ultimately we're just a little bit different. We offer, services in a little bit of a different configuration, with being able to make some changes. helping you guys get through some of the install process and some of that stuff like that typically and normally you'd be paying somebody else to do. So we would encourage you that you do that. Now, one of the other things to take into consideration is if the inventory shows online, it ships tomorrow. Okay, so unless it's some weird battle worn, changing an optic, something along those lines, which will give you a date, it will ship tomorrow. You order next business day. So you order on Friday, it ships Monday. That's just how it works. So there's none of this 30, 45 day business wait. You know, hey, it's going to be a month or two. That's not what it is. As long as the inventory is in stock, it goes. Okay. If the inventory is not in stock, you may see a little bit of a note on there that may say something like, once purchased, it's this amount of days, and it would be, you know, 3 to 5 days or 3 to 7 days or something. We would list that specifically on the listing itself. Okay, so you'd find it right where you go to check out. There'd be a warning literally right there that tells you how many days you could expect to wait. Once again, some of the other services, what you'd find like with the black nitride, we only process black nitride once a month. Okay, so at the beginning of the month, all the parts get stripped, all of them get sandblasted, everything gets looked over real carefully, and then it ships out. We have a contract with another vendor. They process the black nitride, and then it comes back. When it comes back, it takes about 20 to 30 days. So ships out on the 1st. We usually get it back sometime between the 20th through the 30th of the month, unless there's something weird going on with a holiday. But that's typically the turnaround time that we get. Of course, we reassemble all that stuff for you, no cost. Okay, maybe you've supplied some suppressor sites. We put those in, no cost, and then we send your stuff back. Okay, very, very advantageous service. If you don't like Cerakote, you're not happy with it, you've used it in the past through a different vendor, want to go back to a factory coating, that's the way to do that. Now keep in mind, once again, you can add that to one of these slides as a final coating, but depending upon when you buy that slide, let's say you buy it on the 15th of the month, this slide does not ship out to the 1st of next month. It will not come back to the 20th through the 30th of next month. So take that into consideration, okay? Obviously, if you said, I want this cut to the back, I want the dovetail cut to the front, and I want to do black nitride coating, that's a great opportunity because it gives us the ability to actually process that slide, because that's not a normal configuration. So we've got to grab one of our slides here, we got to get it into the CNC machine, we got to get that work cut out, and that gives us a little bit of time to get that process. So, and of course, if we're getting in preparation to black nitride, then we've got a little bit of time. So make sure you leave us enough time to get that stuff done. Some of the other services obviously do cost money to move a dovetail. It doesn't cost any money to remove a dovetail, only for moving it. Obviously, there's a cost associated with black nitride and battle-worn coatings. So there, you know, those are upgrade costs. We can figure all those into the pricing. If it's easier for us to send you an invoice and for you to pay, if you're a local guy, you want to come by, you want to do, you know, talk it over, you know, drop your stuff off, whatever the case may be, or pick your stuff up. Those are all things that are possibilities, guys. We're very flexible, willing to work with you. We are a customization shop. We do expect that we're going to see a lot of different requests. Not everybody likes the same stuff, okay? We've been in this business for a long time. We've processed thousands of slides. I would recommend that you take, you know, you hold the hand from the company that knows what they're doing, that's going to hold your hand through the process, not just, hey, here's a slide, here you go. So the idea is that we do want to hear from you. We do want to make sure that we're getting everything done accordingly. We're making sure that we're meeting all of your specific needs. Not everybody has the same request, okay? I want to make sure that we're getting everybody's needs fulfilled. So let's make that happen. Reach out to us. Let us know exactly what you want to have done. And definitely, as we get a little bit closer towards the end of the year, we're going to have a lot more videos coming up. We've been real busy here lately. We've been ironing out some paperwork, which we'll get to at some point in time. And there's other machines here. So we're going to go through that process and show you guys some of that stuff. So a lot of stuff still to follow along with, and we'll just see what we come up with.